I remember when you first encountered Netflix, when that first came about. For me, we'd bought a PS3, and my better half and myself are anime fans. There was a free week of Netflix, so we decided we'd go for it because there was a couple animes that we wanted to watch, and I'd seen some Stephen J. Canal shows that I really wanted to check out that I'd seen in my youth. See, originally streaming was put there to be something that gave you more choice, that opened up your options. But at the end of the day, I think it did the opposite. Let's talk about it. See, the second part to the story that I just mentioned is this. We finished off that anime in about 2 days. It was a wonderful thing. We excitedly signed up to get the paid version of Netflix and to do that on a regular basis. I was so excited to check out the shows that I'd seen in my youth. The shows like 21 Jump Street and Silk Stockings, all the cool Stephen J. Canal shows, which were taken off of Netflix 2 days later. I kid you not, this is not hyperbole. They were taken off Netflix 2 days later and put on to another upcoming streaming service, which would become Amazon Prime, which I think is where they all reside at this particular moment. It was gone. Now, there was other things that were put on there. In the early days of Netflix, they definitely had a lot more open choices than they do now. I watched The Nuns of St. Valentine's, a kind of cheesy softcore exploitation film. Not the type of thing you'd picture being on Netflix now, but it was back in the wilderness era and days of Netflix. Now, however, it's different. See, it was marketed to us as opening up our choices, about having the world at our fingertips. But that's not exactly the way that it goes now, is it? I mean, one of the great things about going into a video store back in the day, or going to your local shop, your brick and mortar shop, and picking up physical media, was you could roam through that aisle and find what you wanted. And sometimes you'd find movies and shows there that you hadn't heard of, or you hadn't seen in a long time. So you picked it up. And if you still got physical media, you can still go back and watch that show anytime you want to. You don't have a risk of that someone coming in the house and disappearing, unless, well, that somebody is Swiper from Dora the Explorer. But with these streaming services, things come and go on a regular basis. Also, they market it as they're curating a playlist for you. What's happening is you're getting a list of shows that they suggest, that they think, based upon an algorithm that they made, that you might like, which is great, except that's a list of shows within their sphere. That's a list of movies within within what they have. You're not getting to see all the things. You're not getting to experience the stuff that's outside of their sphere. That might be like the indie darlings, might be your next favorite movie, those hidden gems. The era of the sleeper hit, that diamond in the rough, those movies that like became cult hits and classics, not so much a thing anymore. It's more of a marketing gimmick to try and make you fall into what should be the next cult classic. It's engineered to be so, rather than becoming so organically. I didn't go out and see Return of the Killer Tomatoes or titles like that because somebody had suggested, oh, this is a movie to see. Those films like that and Return to Horror High became like kind of just cult favorites of mine because I walked into a video store, I liked the cover, something kind of caught me that day. The movie that I wanted wasn't there, and I just wanted a backup. Me and my friends went in and picked up some stuff. Free will was there, freedom of choice. And now, that being said, obviously the freedom of choice was like with the sphere of that video store, but in the era that I lived in, I feel like an old man sitting in the clouds, by the way, there was different video stores. There was different places to go buy physical media. everyone didn't have the same. They all had the same when it came to your big stuff, but smaller stores couldn't afford to get a lot of the bigger releases, not to get multiple copies of them the way that a Blockbuster could. A mom and pop shop or a corner store that has a physical media section often had to rely on the fringe titles, the things that would be cheaper for them to get in, stuff that they could buy for like $15, $20, put it on the rack and sell it for or rent it for like $1, $2 section. That's how I came across UFC before it became popular. That's how I came across the cheesy horror films. That's why I saw films on Mama Dracula and stuff like that. All the Sir Santiago movies that I saw, the early Roger Corman stuff, the trauma stuff became popular because they became cheaper, more viable options for stores and shops to rent out, as opposed to spending a ton of money getting the new releases. Sure, you could watch a movie like Terminator 2. You could watch a movie like Steel Magnolias, but you could also see the off-brand versions of those, or ones that would be coming. You could see the Robo Wars of the Terminator franchise, and for some people that might be a cringe thing, but there is some great stuff to be seen. And it doesn't just go for the cheaper, cheesier stuff like that. It goes for foreign films as well. One of the great things and one of the great companies that are out there right now is Criterion. On the flip side, there's Mon Macabro. Both of these have dealt a lot with foreign films and films that would not be more recognizable or more known within the structure of most North American audiences, even for some of my UK friends out there. But thanks to companies now like Radiance and that, and Criterion, and Mondo, you're able to like dive into and do those blind buys to see a lot of those films. Now, you're not going to see a lot of that when it comes to. You're going to see what Netflix was able to get would get for cheap, put on their channel. That's how Squid Games became a thing, actually. But it's going to be limited to what they show you. Don't look behind the curtain. Ignore the man behind the curtain. He's not there. Just keep looking at the wonderful sights that the wizard is feeding you. So where does that leave us right now at a time where streaming has become so prevalent and so expensive? Streaming should never be the reason that you get rid of your movies. Now, everybody does things the way that they do things, or I've got no shade if you're a streaming person or anything like that. This is not an attack on you. This is just an alternate look at how I think, personally for me, I see things. I do think that collecting physical media is important. I think it's very important to get the things that you like. Now, you're probably saying, hey, but I've got more options out there. I can watch all these shows on Netflix. You can watch the shows that Netflix chose for you. You can watch the movies that Netflix or Amazon or Hulu chose for you. One of the great, wonderful things about buying a movie, about going and getting films, whether you get them at a brick and mortar store or you order them online, is you get to choose what you want to watch. You get to decide and discover the films, the shows, your old favorites and your new favorites. You get to go through that journey, and you are your own curator. You don't need an algorithm to do that. You can do that yourself. You did it before. You can do it again, and trust me, you are a much better judge of what you like and what you could like than any machine can be. It's wonderful to have that mysterious algorithm out there for certain shows and movies, but think of it this way. Netflix, Hulu, they're meant to replace cable. They're meant to be the ABCs, NBCs, CBSs, NTV, CBC of this era. They were never and should never have been meant to replace your choice and your media collection. No, you don't need to have a 10,000 plus movie collection like I do. In fact, I might say maybe not, but you can have a nice personal selection of films and TV shows that you know that you like, that you're going to go back and watch. I, for instance, know that I have some friends that are big Gilmore Girls fans, and they picked up, that big Gilmore Girls set, and they'll watch that every once in a while. It's something that they'll pick up. Now, for me, I like Hawaii Five-O, I like Mission Impossible, I like shows like that, and I do find myself going back and watching them. They're my comfort shows, the Matlocks, the Columbos of the world. And a lot of these aren't necessarily shows that you're going to find streaming. And if you do, you're never quite sure of the quality that you're going to get. Streaming is a nice offset. Streaming is a nice way to, if you want to, replace cable TV. But it's going to be an expensive option even to replace cable TV nowadays, because cable, is with your internet. So you're probably still going to have one or two streaming options out there, but you can look at narrowing them down quite a bit. Is it going to be more expensive? Is it going to be more pricey? Because you're buying movies now. You can't buy all the movies that are on Netflix. No, but you wouldn't. 9 times out of 10, you probably don't watch like a 10th, 100th of what's on Netflix. You watch what you like, and if it's something that you like that you are going to rent and not buy, well, that's what rental stores were for. There's really not much difference. The cost of renting from a mom and pop shop or a Blockbuster back in the day, or I guess now on Amazon Prime, is definitely, well, the Amazon Prime is more expensive. Remember, we had like $1 rentals. You spent like $5 was a big rental price for like a new release. Nowadays, people are renting and renting to own for $24, $25, with like an own being like $30 and up. That's how things have changed. That's how they switched the cost and the narrative on us. We're not saving money. Renting the occasional new film, buying the show that you really want to watch, and picking up the films that you know that you're going to like and love and you can enjoy with you, your friends, and your family, in the long run, can be a lot cheaper. Anyway, that's my thoughts for today. My coffee is done. I will see you next time. My name is Aaron. This is The Call to Cinema. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And I hope you go out there and discover something new, a new favorite for you that you discovered yourself without an algorithm, without any mysterious behind the scenes mechanisms doing it for you. And look at that. Lordy came in here to just seal the deal. See you later, guys.
Oh God. Subscription sloth here. Just want to remind you that I know in the summertime especially it can be super warm and lazy. But if you're liking this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to go that step further and join the Patreon, there's a link for that down below. You can super sticker, super chat, or donate. But above all, just lie back and enjoy the video, because that's what I'm going to do.